The first thing Aurelia learned about humans was that they did not look up at the sky very often. They lived beneath infinity, yet behaved as if it did not exist. On her world, every child learned the names of the stars before they learned their own. On Earth, people walked past the cosmos without noticing it, watching them back. That was how she survived. She hid in plain sight, a queen among those who never imagined royalty could bleed. Aurelia once ruled a civilization that spanned light itself. Her words had ended wars before they began. Her silence had terrified conquerors. Now she stood quietly on a cracked sidewalk beside a human male named Elias, waiting for a signal light to change. The glow beneath her skin was dim, carefully restrained. Her bioluminescent markings slept beneath layers of suppression fields, woven directly into her nervous system. Painful to maintain, necessary to survive. Elias shifted his weight beside her, hands in his jacket pockets. He smelled of machine oil and rain-soaked fabric, a strangely comforting scent. "You always get quiet when the city gets loud," he said gently. Aurelia tilted her head slightly. "An almost human gesture. I am listening," she replied. He smiled at that, unaware that listening was her greatest weapon. Her species could hear intent in the vibrations of space itself. Every lie rang false. Every fear sang loud. Elias was honest, painfully so. 7 months earlier, she had crashed into this world like a falling star, her scout vessel burning as it tore through atmosphere never designed to feel her weight. She remembered the impact, the sound of metal screaming, the sensation of gravity grabbing her like an angry god. She had removed her crown in the final seconds before impact, hiding it beyond space, beyond time, beyond even herself. Without it, she was vulnerable. Without it, she was alive. When she woke in the forest, smoke curling through shattered trees, she expected soldiers, weapons, death. Instead, there was Elias kneeling awkwardly a few steps away, holding a flashlight like it might protect him from the unknown. She had tried to stand and failed, her legs trembling under unfamiliar gravity, her blood glowing faintly cyan as it seeped from a wound along her side. Elias had frozen, eyes wide, breath shallow. Then he took off his jacket and held it out with shaking hands. "You are hurt," he said. "I do not know what you are, but you are hurt." That was the moment the galaxy lost its queen, and Earth gained something far more dangerous. Now the signal light turned green. Elias stepped forward, then paused when he realized she had not moved. "You okay?" he asked softly. Aurelia looked up, at the buildings clawing at the sky, at the layers of human existence stacked carelessly atop one another. "Yes," she said, "I am present." He laughed quietly. "You say stuff like that, and then act surprised when people stare." She adjusted her hood, hiding the faint glow at her temples. "I am still learning the correct lies," she replied. That answer earned another smile. Elias never laughed at her. He laughed with her. They crossed the street together, two insignificant figures in a city of millions, unnoticed, unimportant. That anonymity was her shield, far beyond Earth. The void trembled in the high conclave chamber. Ancient beings of light and will gathered in fury. The luminar throne sat empty, its resonance silent for the first time in recorded eternity. "She lives," one of them hissed. "I can still feel her echo." "A queen without her crown is still a queen," another replied. "And a queen who abandons her throne is a threat." They did not fear her power, they feared her choice. If Aurelia could walk away from infinite authority, others might follow. "Prepare the herald fleet," the conclave commanded. "Retrieve the crown, retrieve the queen. Erase the human world if necessary." Back on Earth, rain began to fall. Soft at first, then heavier. Aurelia stopped beneath an overpass, watching water strike concrete like tiny explosions. On her world, rain fell upward, drawn back into the sky by magnetic tides. Elias noticed her fascination. "You never get tired of rain," he said. "It is chaos pretending to be gentle," she replied. He considered that. "You should write poetry or something," she smiled. "I ruled a civilization," she thought. "And now I am complimented on metaphors." They reached his apartment building. Old, narrow, imperfect. Safe inside. The walls hummed with electrical life. Machines speaking in quiet frequencies she had learned to ignore. Elias set down his bag. "You hungry?" he asked. Aurelia hesitated. Her body required energy beyond human nutrition. But she had adapted. She always adapted. "Yes," she said. "I enjoy the flat bread with melted milk." "Pizza," he corrected with a grin as he turned toward the kitchen. Aurelia stiffened. Her senses flared without permission. Space itself shuddered. Someone was listening. Not here, not on Earth, but close enough to hurt. She pressed a hand to her chest, suppressing the surge. The markings beneath her skin pulsed, begging to awaken. Elias noticed immediately. "Hey," he said. "What is it?" She forced her breathing to slow. "Nothing," she replied. "Just memory." He accepted that lie, because humans trusted far too easily later. As night wrapped the city in artificial stars, Aurelia stood by the window, looking up. 2 moons hung faintly in the sky, visible only to her enhanced vision. Not Earth's moons, observers. They had found her trail, she whispered into the silence. Not yet. Far above the atmosphere, something ancient adjusted its course. The queen had hidden her crown, but the galaxy was done waiting, and soon, very soon, Elias would learn that the woman beside him was not running from her past. She was protecting his future. Morning arrived quietly, not with sunlight, but with sound. The city woke in fragments, footsteps above, water rushing through hidden pipes. A distant siren cutting the air like a warning no one listened to. Aurelia had not slept. She sat at the small table near the window, hands folded, eyes unfocused, her mind stretched far beyond Earth, feeling the pressure building in the dark between stars. The observers were closer now, not ships yet, just instruments. Whispers pressed into the fabric of space. Elias stirred from the couch, rubbing his face, hair a mess. "You look like you are planning a funeral," he said lightly. She turned toward him slowly. "I am calculating survival," she replied. He yawned, missed the weight behind her words. Same thing before coffee. That was the danger of humans. They wrapped fear in humor and called it courage. As he moved to the kitchen, the lights flickered, just once, quick enough to ignore. Aurelia felt it like a blade against her spine. "They are probing," her instincts screamed. She stood abruptly, chair scraping the floor. Elias paused, sensing the shift. "Okay," he said carefully. Now that was not memory. She hesitated. The truth pressed against her throat like fire. If she told him, everything would change. If she did not, everything would end. "There are things near your world," she said at last. "Things that should not be." Elias leaned against the counter, studying her face. "You mean like satellites or like invasion?" She met his eyes. "Like extinction," she said softly. Silence filled the room, heavy and real. Elias did not laugh, did not dismiss her, did not step away. "How much time?" he asked. That question shattered something inside her, not disbelief, not fear, but trust. "They are searching," she replied. "Once they confirm me, they will arrive." He exhaled slowly. "And you are the reason." "Yes," she said. He nodded, as if accepting bad weather instead of galactic annihilation. "Okay, then we figure it out." Aurelia stared at him, stunned. "You cannot fight them," she said. "They erase stars when diplomacy fails." He shrugged. "Then we make sure diplomacy does not fail." For the first time in centuries, Aurelia felt fear for someone else more than herself. That day Earth felt different, not because anything had changed, but because something had been noticed. Birds flew erratically, compasses drifted, sensitive equipment across the planet registered anomalies no one could explain. In orbit, the observers finally revealed themselves, invisible no longer, their presence bending light just enough to be felt, deep within a hidden chamber of folded space. The high conclave watched Earth in silence. She grows attached. One voice observed, "That will be her weakness." Another replied, "Prepare the summons." A third commanded, "If she refuses, we burn the world clean." Back in the apartment, Aurelia pressed her palm against the glass. She could feel the planet breathing beneath. Her hand fragile, stubborn, alive. Elias approached quietly. "You could leave," he said. "If it is just you they want." She turned sharply. "Nitrogen monoxide." The word thundered with suppressed power. "If I leave, they will still come," she said. "They do not tolerate disobedience. They make examples." He swallowed. "Then we do not give them one." The first strike did not come as fire. It came as silence. Across the world, communication hiccuped. Signals dropped. Satellites went blind. Aurelia staggered as the planetary grid screamed in her mind. "They are isolating you," she whispered. Elias caught her before she fell, his hands warm. "Solid, real. Say the word," he said. "Tell me what you need." She looked at him, truly looked at. A species that should have broken long ago, that endured without knowing why. "I need time," she said. "And I need you to trust me completely." He did not hesitate. Done. High above, the Herald fleet slipped into local space. Not in full force. Not yet. Just enough to remind the universe who ruled it. Aurelia felt her crown stir where it slept beyond reality, calling to her, begging her to reclaim herself. She closed her eyes, fighting tears she did not understand. "I did not come here to rule," she whispered. "I came here to live outside." The sky darkened despite the hour. Clouds spiraled unnaturally, the air charged with unseen power. Elias looked up through the window. "That does not look normal," he said. Aurelia straightened decision, settling like steel in her spine. "They will speak soon," she replied, "and when they do, everything will change." Far above Earth, a voice older than suns prepared to call her name, and this time, the Queen would answer. Asterisk, the summons came without sound, without light, without mercy. Aurelia felt it tear through her consciousness like a blade of pure authority. Her name echoed inside her skull, spoken in the ancient frequency only queens could hear. "Return," the voice commanded. Elias dropped his mug as Aurelia cried out. Porcelain shattered against the floor, coffee spreading like a dark stain between them. She collapsed to her knees, clutching her head, her markings igniting bright cyan, burning through suppression fields that could no longer hold. "Aurelia!" Elias shouted, rushing to her side. "Talk to me." She looked up at him, eyes glowing like distant stars. "They are calling me," she gasped. "They have found me completely." The walls trembled, not from sound, but from pressure. Space itself bent inward, folding like fabric pulled too tight. The air thickened until breathing felt like drowning. Then the voice came again. Not inside her this time, but everywhere. "Aurelia of the Luminar Throne, you will present yourself for judgment." Elias staggered, hands over his ears. "Jesus," he muttered. "What the hell is that?" She reached for him instinctively, fingers digging into his jacket. "I am sorry," she whispered. "This is my fault." The ceiling above them vanished, not destroyed, simply erased. The sky peeled open like a wound, revealing a vast impossible structure hanging above the city. A living construct of light and geometry, rotating slowly, watching. People screamed in the streets below. Cars crashed, human order dissolved in seconds. From the construct, a figure descended, tall, radiant, terrible. A herald. Its voice rolled across the city like Judgment Day. "Queen Aurelia, you have abandoned your crown. You have bound yourself to a primitive." Elias stared upward, face pale. "Queen," he repeated. "You said you ruled a civilization." She swallowed hard. "I did not lie," she said. "I withheld." Scale. The herald turned its gaze upon Elias, a lesser being, a variable. "This human is contamination." The herald declared, "Remove him. Return alone." Aurelia stood, power surging uncontrolled, nitrogen monoxide. Her voice cracked the air. She stepped in front of Elias, shielding him with her body. "I will not." The herald paused, calculating, then extended a hand toward Elias. Before Aurelia could react, gravity inverted. Elias lifted from the ground, choking, as invisible force crushed his chest. "Stop," she screamed. "Take me." The herald ignored her. This world will learn obedience. Something inside Aurelia broke. Not rage, not fear, but restraint. Her crown answered. Reality split as Aurelia tore open the hidden fold and pulled the crown back into existence. The moment it appeared, the city fell silent. Light bowed, time stuttered. She placed the crown upon her head, and the universe remembered her. Enough, she said. The word detonated outward, shattering the herald into fragments of dying light. Elias dropped to the ground, gasping. Alive, Aurelia hovered above the ruined apartment, no longer hiding. Her markings blazing like living constellations, her presence crushing, undeniable. I am your queen, she declared to the construct above, and I have not abdicated. Across the galaxy, command structures failed, war fleets froze, ancient rulers felt her will press against their minds. You would erase a world to punish defiance. She continued, then hear my decree. Earth is under my protection. Any who threaten it will face my judgment. The construct trembled, systems unraveling under her authority. The high conclave screamed across subspace. You endanger the balance, they cried. Aurelia looked down at the city, at Elias struggling to his feet. Balance built on fear is lies, she answered. She raised her hand and rewrote the rules. The construct folded in on itself and vanished, ripped from local space and cast beyond the galactic rim. The sky sealed. The pressure lifted. Silence returned, broken only by distant sirens. Aurelia descended slowly, removing her crown as she touched the ground. The glow faded. The queen became a woman once more. Elias stared at her, trembling. You are not just alien, he said hoarsely. You are a god. She stepped closer, eyes wet with emotion she barely understood. No, she said. I am someone who chose. He looked at the shattered sky above them, the broken city below, and us, he asked. What are we now? Aurelia took his hands, holding them tightly. Now, she said softly. They know humanity exists far beyond Earth. The galaxy reeled. For the first time in history, a queen had chosen one world, one human, and the universe would never be the same again. Earth did not panic all at once. It panicked in waves. First came confusion, then disbelief, then the slow, terrifying realization that the sky itself had been rewritten. Governments denied what millions had seen. News feeds stuttered between truth and silence. Words like anomaly and atmospheric event were repeated until they lost meaning. But humans had eyes and memory. They remembered the sky opening. They remembered the voice that shook their bones. And they remembered the woman who stood against it. Aurelia felt it all from the rooftop where Elias had taken her. The fear, the awe, the sudden fragile hope spreading like fire through a dry forest. She could hear human emotion now that she was no longer suppressing herself fully. It was loud, chaotic, beautiful. Elias leaned against the railing beside her, staring out over the city. They are going to ask questions, he said quietly. Yes, she replied. And I will not lie. He nodded, rubbing his hands together. You know that means nothing will ever be normal again. Aurelia turned toward him, her expression gentle but resolute. Normal was never safe, she said. Far beyond Earth, the high conclave reeled in fury. The destruction of the herald had not been expected. The declaration of protection had not been tolerated. She has violated the ancient compact, one voice snarled. She has exposed the throne to a lesser species, another hissed. Then we remind the galaxy what happens when a queen forgets her place. The eldest among them declared. The war mandate was invoked. A decree so old, it had only been spoken in myth. ALL. Worlds aligned with Aurelia were now legitimate targets. The galaxy shifted. Fleets began to move. Weapons that drank stars warmed for the first time in millennia. On Earth, Aurelia felt the ripple like a coming storm. They are preparing to burn everything I ever touched, she whispered. Elias stiffened. Because of us, she nodded, pain carving lines across her features. Love has a cost, she said. That night, she stood before humanity, not as a conqueror, not as a savior, but as a truth. Her image appeared across every functioning screen, projected through systems she barely touched. "I am Aurelia," she said, voice steady. "I am not your ruler, I am not your enemy. I am the reason danger has come to your world, and I am the reason it will not claim you." Some listened in silence, some wept. Some clenched their fists in fear and defiance. "You may choose to reject me," she continued, "but know this, you are no longer invisible. The galaxy has noticed you, and it is afraid, because you endure without permission, you fight without reason, and you love without understanding the cost." That last line echoed through the collective human soul. In the days that followed, Earth transformed. Scientists worked beside soldiers, rivals shared data, borders blurred under shared survival. Aurelia watched it all with awe. "They adapt faster than we ever did," she said to Elias. He smiled grimly. "We do not like being told to kneel." The first strike came at the edge of the solar system, a conclave probe testing defenses that did not yet exist. Aurelia felt it instantly. Her crown flared in response, even though she had not summoned it. "They are measuring us," she said. "They are deciding how much force to use." Elias looked at her, fear clear but unbroken. "And when they decide," Aurelia met his gaze. "Then I stop hiding forever." She reached out, pulling her crown from beyond reality once more. But this time she did not place it on her head. She held it out, toward Earth. "This crown does not only belong to me," she said softly. "It amplifies will, not blood." Elias stared at it, realization dawning. "You are offering them a choice." "Yes," she replied. "Stand with me, or stand behind me above them." The stars shifted subtly, as if the universe itself leaned closer to listen. Far away, the conclave felt something new. Not fear, but uncertainty. Because the queen they sought to punish was no longer alone. She had given a world a reason to stand. And humanity, given the chance, was never going to stay quiet again. The galaxy came to Earth not with a roar, but with certainty. The High Conclave believed certainty was enough. Enough to crush rebellion, enough to erase inconvenient hope. Across the void, fleets aligned in silent precision. Ships the size of continents drifting into formation. Weapons charged with the gravity of collapsed stars. This was not war. This was correction on Earth. Humanity felt it before it saw it. The night sky shimmered unnaturally, stars bending as if afraid to shine. Aurelia stood at the highest point of the city, wind tearing at her hair, her crown floating before her like a living sun. Elias stood beside her, heart pounding, the world behind them holding its breath. "They are all coming," he said quietly. "Yes," Aurelia replied. "Every fear my people ever worshipped." She reached for his hand, and for a moment, the universe narrowed to that single connection. "If I fall," she said softly, "they will not stop." Elias tightened his grip. "Then you do not fall." The first conclave ship entered orbit, its shadow swallowing cities, its presence crushing hope through sheer scale. A voice thundered across the planet. "Aurelia of the Luminar Throne, you have corrupted a primitive world. Surrender the crown and accept oblivion." Aurelia lifted her head, eyes blazing. "No." The crown settled onto her brow, and the universe screamed. Power erupted outward, not destructive, directive. She spoke not as queen, but as truth. "You fear humanity," she declared, "because they do not ask permission to exist. You fear them because they choose each other over you." The conclave responded with fire, beams of annihilation lancing toward Earth. Human defenses activated, primitive, desperate, brave. They would not have been enough. Aurelia stepped forward and made her final choice. She turned to Elias, tears finally falling. "I can save them," she whispered, "but I will not return." Understanding shattered him. "You mean you will die?" She smiled. Gently. "No," she said. "I will become what they cannot fight." Before he could stop her, she released the crown. Not removed it, released it. The artifact dissolved into pure will, spreading through Earth. Through humanity, every human felt it. A spark, a refusal, a shared voice screaming, "We are here." The conclave weapons failed, not destroyed, denied. Their technology could not function against united intent. Aurelia rose into the sky, body unraveling. Into light, not dying, ascending. Her voice echoed one last time. This world is not yours to end. The fleets broke, command structures collapsed. The conclave screamed as their authority evaporated. Across the galaxy, oppressed worlds rose. Crowns shattered, thrones fell, and Aurelia, once a queen, became something more. A guardian woven into reality itself. A law the universe could not ignore. On Earth, silence fell. Then breath, then tears. Elias knelt beneath the open sky. Broken, yet smiling through grief. She had not left him. She had stayed everywhere. Years passed. Humanity reached the stars. Not as conquerors, but as equals, and wherever humans traveled, the galaxy remembered that once an alien queen hid her crown, chose one human, and in doing so, changed everything. And sometimes on quiet nights when the stars seemed warmer, Elias could swear he felt her beside him, not ruling, not watching, just walking with him, as she always wanted.